Good to meet you.
Hi, Zach. Good to meet you.
Okay, take a seat.
Welcome. This is a conversation of excellence. My name is HERMELA, and I'm here today with
Zach Robinson. Good morning.
Morning. We're so excited to meet you and to just learn more about the British West Indies Regiment Heritage Trust
Yes. Hopefully,
organisation.
I've got some stories I can enlighten you with.
Right. Let's start with you, okay? I guess you can start by telling us a bit more about yourself, how you became the vice chairman of Bright.
Okay. I was born in Jamaica. I came here in the 60s. Did some schools. I did some schooling in Jamaica and finished my education here in the UK. After leaving school, I did little bits and pieces. I worked in a supermarket and so on before that. And then after that, I decided to join the army. Spent several years in the army and decided for a couple of reasons that I needed to have a new focus in life. So I came out and I spent a very, very long time in the motor trade as starting off as a mechanic and then working up into management. As for Bright, 2017, I think, I used to march with my old regiment veterans. In 2017, I had knee surgery, so I couldn't march that year. So I naturally watched it on telly, as you would do, you know. And that was the first time I heard of Bright. It says, and I remember it was just like a 10-second sort of synopsis of Bright. It said, "This is a new bunch of British West Indian Heritage Trust, da da da," and of course it moved on. So I had nothing to do with them after that. So I then I retired a few years ago, and I got involved with another organisation. And Sue Liber, which is one of our members, introduced me to Paul,
Nice.
our chair. And then all of a sudden, British West Indian Heritage, I saw you guys on TV. And so, yes, we talked, and I liked what Paul was saying and how Sue was working and so on. I decided, let's give this a go. You know, I wanted to do something because I'm now retired and a slower pace of life, you know. So then they decided we're going to get together. We used to have meetings and Zoom meetings and so on and so forth. So we decided we're going to do a project. And the project was to go to France.
Yeah.
Etaples in France. And we were going to lay some reasons. Now, the plan was to just go in one car. And then it grew to 2 cars.
Yeah.
It then grew to a minibus. And then eventually we went, a 56-seater bus went. And it was really, really surreal. It was really nice to see all these people getting together. And the mayor of Etaples was there. Some people from the war graves community, and loads of all these dignitaries was there. And I thought, wow. So after the ceremony, we have a lady, Marilla. You need to hear this girl sing. You really need to hear this girl sing. And she sang Kumbaya.
Well.
And so we've adopted that as our motto, if you like, of the trips that we go abroad. And after the ceremony, I was walking around and I saw, I can't remember, 4 or 5 West Indian graves. And I thought, all of a sudden, it hit me that, good God, there are actual Caribbean people that fought in the war. And it incensed me somewhat. And that might come across as negative, but you don't hear about this.
No,
you don't hear anything about this. And so, yes, we decided to continue with it. Last year, we went to Belgium. And again, another story, and more stories come out, and we'll have to go on about that in a minute. We had Mr. Flanagan, who passed away about 3 weeks ago. He was the oldest, one of the oldest, 99 years old. And he served in World War II. We had Mr. Clark, who's still alive, thank God. And we had several people. We have the mayor of, the vice mayor then of Lewisham. She's now promoted to the mayor, first black mayor of Lewisham. And you talk to all these people, and people say these things, and you think, wow. And until I met Paul, I wouldn't know any of that because I'm busy in my little tunnel vision getting on with life.
Yeah.
And there's more to it. Unfortunately, because I'm now retired and I'm not like doddery and so on, I have time to research these things, and long may it continue.
I guess I can go into my next question.
Yes.
I can guess what the answer is, but
Good.
what drives you to be so dedicated to Bright?
Okay. Remember I said I did some of my schooling in the Caribbean
Yeah.
and some here. You hear about Captain Cook, Columbus, Churchill,
Yeah.
Wellington. Nobody tells me about them. Manly in particular. What do you know about Manly? Nothing. Very few people do. Manly is a guy who took Jamaica into independence in 1962.
Mm-hmm.
Every time he was in public, he wore a black tie. Nobody knows why. You know why? Because his brother was killed on the battlefields in Belgium, in the same battle that he was in, and he wore a black tie to commemorate his brother. Right? So all these things are not said. He is a hero. All the things he's done, but nobody tells me about him. You know, tell me about Wellington. Tell me about. I'm not saying that history shouldn't be told, but all history should be told. You know, and what I'm saying is it should be a level playing field. Like everything should be the same.
Mm-hmm.
So I am very, very driven by this. You know, my regimental veteran society in London, the vice chair of that is a friend of mine, a very good friend of mine called Norman Morrison. He came with us on the 2 trips. When he went to Belgium with us last year, we had a little drink afterwards and just had a catch up as how it was going. He said, you know what, I have been to that cemetery several times, Green Jacket Memorial, and I never knew black people were buried there. You know, so nobody has told, no Caribbeans were buried there. And I thought, what? He said, yes, I've been there 5 or 6 times.
Mm-hmm.
Didn't know. So I want that story to be told. These are heroes. These people have been silent for centuries. And it's like being discarded like an old pair of shoes or something, you know what I mean? And I think it's wrong. You know, the ultimate sacrifice you can make. Another thing, before we went to Belgium, there was another organisation invited myself and Paul about 2 or 3 weeks before our invited us to come along. So I said, okay, went along with Paul, and we had a great time. And then at the end of it, this guy came up to me and said, Paul was busy talking to somebody else. He came up to me, excuse me, who are you? And I said, we're British West Indian Heritage Trust. He said, can I talk to you for a moment? And why is he whispering? He says, come with me. So he came with me, and he presented me with this. And I thought, oh, thank you, what is it? Okay, let me tell you a story about this sculpture. There's 500,000 of them or like statues or carvings or whatever.
Can I see?
Of course you can. Don't drop it. And it is to commemorate the dead in the battlefields in Belgium. He said to me, you are the first organisation of Caribbean heritage that's been handed one to. That took the wind out of myself, took my breath away. And I was saying, oh, thank you. And I think I was welling up. And he said, I need to tell you something. Thank you. Because it wasn't for the efforts of the Caribbeans in the battlefields of Belgium, we would be speaking German right now. How powerful is that? Just think that through. You know? And so, why shouldn't I continue? Why shouldn't that be told?
You realise they've been unrecognised for so long, don't you?
Precisely.
I guess the next question I can ask is, what's your primary objective and goals and, you know, the future you see for Bright?
I alluded to earlier, I think it should go into schools. I think I am disappointed with the schooling organisations and so on that it's not, Black history is not being told. These people are just discarded, redacted out of history. And my aim and my absolute dream is to get into school curriculum, whether it's in one school, a year, a particular year in school or whatever. I don't know. This is obviously in the future, but it is going to be my aim to try and get that in there. You know, people don't actually understand being in a battle. I have, and I've been there, I know what it's like. And these people, and remember, this is 80 years prior to me, so it was a different battlefield then, you know? And so it would have been hard. It would have been scary, you know? When we went to Belgium, we laid some wreaths on Bill Manley's grave, which is Norman Manley's brother, and a guy called Herbert Morris. Do you know who Herbert Morris is?
No.
Ah, there you go. He was a 17-year-old. He got shot at dawn. He got executed because he was supposedly deserting. What he actually had was shell shock, what we now call PTSD, right? Post-traumatic stress disorder. And he was shot at dawn. We went to the cell that he was kept in prior to his execution, and it was not a pleasant place to be. Imagine you're 17 years old, you're frightened of all these bombshells going off around you, and you know tomorrow, this is your last day. And the sunrise, and you think, this is my last sunrise. You know? So this should be told. We also, when we was in Belgium, we laid 21 graves, I think it was. We sprinkled dirt from the Caribbean on 21 graves. But it's symbolic, but real, because remember, the last time they touched the Caribbean soil was on the ship coming up across into Europe. So we brought the Caribbean to them.
So symbolic. So you guys actually got the soil from the Caribbean?
Yeah, from the Caribbean. Oh, another thing that we had in Belgium, we had Brigadier Carl Harris, who is the highest ranking black soldier in the British Army. We have his dad, who drove down from Spain to meet us in Belgium, who was a 002, which is a warrant officer.
Yeah.
We also had Colonel Andy Allen, who was the highest ranking officer, who was a colonel prior to Carl being a brigadier. So all these things are supporting us, saying this is true, this is real, this is, it has legs, as it were, So I am confident what I'm doing is correct.
Amazing. You've not said anything wrong. It's amazing and insightful.
I think I'm coming across as really enthusiastic because that's how I am.
Yeah.
I will, if I want to do something, it's like 100%. It's either 0 or 100%. I'm not like, oh yeah, give it a go. No, So there is.
So you're giving this like 100%.
Absolutely, every day.
I love it. Most of the things that you've learned, do you feel like you've learned that later on in your life?
Yes, I think I have. I wasn't prepared for the shock, but I'm now enlightened by the fact that it is a positive thing. And moving on, I plan to enlighten and shock people as to the part these heroes played in history, in particular in Europe.
Yeah. I guess for the next question, because we've got to move on.
Yes.
For anyone who's interested in this sort of initiative, do you have any advice that you can pass along that you've learned throughout your journey so far?
The reality is I don't, because it's until I spoke to Paul and met with the Bright members, I didn't, as I said, I just continued to do my life. And then these things you hear these little snippets in conversations and so on. You think, well, so research it.
Yeah.
Look at the British West Indies Regiment, which are now disbanded. Search that and look at that. We have a website which we've started. It's still in the stages of it's alive, but we're updating information on it. Have a look at our website. We're going to make some suggestions on there as to what's what and that kind of stuff. So but be prepared to be shocked at how much good these people have done, these sacrifices these people have done. Then it's just,
Do you think that could be a page where schools and educational systems can go to and perhaps...
Absolutely. We are focusing on World War One because that's where the journey starts. We will eventually get to World War Two, but because there is very few World War One, in fact there's no World War One veterans alive, right? But there's World War Two veterans alive, so even though they're falling relatively quickly, then we can still sort of contact some of those. Where World War One, there is 0, and the last thing I want is for these people's voices to be completely wiped out and nothing has been said about them. I met a person, there was in the last Belgium trip, and we was talking, I said, what are you guys doing? You know, and he said, oh my God, this is the first time. And his English wasn't the best. And my Flemish is not good at all. So
that's very
we struggling. It was a lot of hand gesturing and so on and so forth. And I suppose you were saying thank you. And I mean, this guy I've never met before, probably will never meet again. He hugged me and said, danke, which is thank you. And I was like, I don't know what you just said, mate, but what you and you talk to people and it is a positive thing. And the people in the know are prepared to say the truth.
Guess we're gonna move on to the next question.
Go on.
So how does Bright connect with communities to ensure, the messages that is so important that you mentioned about is passed along?
Well, we have supporters that's supporting us, and we're hoping to get somebody on their website, our information on their website as well. We've got RPL, which is Royal British Legion. We have Black Pharma. We have Commercial Bank of Jamaica. We have Beyond Images and some other people. Now, we are very selective. We're a small group of people, and the last thing is we want to get the wrong person in our group. So we're selective in the people that we partner up with, so that we don't have any negativity, because we're so young and so small that we vet the people that we partner up with.
I guess that makes sense, because you want to flourish as much as you can without some sort of negative.
Because we're young as well, young in terms of the organisation is young, then we want to continue the journey that we've mapped out, let's say, and don't let anybody, there's no hurdles in the way.
Do you have any upcoming events and projects you have coming up with Bright?
Yes. We are going on the 11th of May. We're having a walkathon, which we go through into Woolwich, because Woolwich, was the Arsenal of the UK, in fact, possibly of Europe, where they've made gunpowder, guns, and so on and so forth for ships and so on. So there's several strategic places that are place of importance. So we're going to go through that. I think there's 21 of them. And when you get to each individual site, there'll be information about that specific item. And then we move on. Then later after that, we'll have some lunch and so on. On the 29th of June, we're going to Bomber Command in Lincoln, where we are going to have some lunch and again, some more information about Bomber Command and Royal Artillery and so on. And also on the 5th and 6th of October, we're doing Kumbaya 3, which is another trip to Belgium, where we are going to have a plaque laid in St. George's Church, which is where this is for the Wargrave Commission. They have a church specifically for that, and we've finally got the chance to lay a plaque there. And the long-term plan for that is that we're going to have a cat badge painted, but this is in the future. The British West Indies Regiment cat badge in stained glass at the thing, but that is somewhat way off in the future. So that is the media. We obviously got other things going, but this is already things that we've started working on to get done, but we would be doing other things as well. Again, visit our website and it will be obviously posted on there.
That's amazing, because I know you said you're new and it's almost like a baby, but I feel like you've done so much so far and you're doing a lot more in just these next couple of months.
Right.
And I feel like the future that you have, planned out for Bright is...
It's just that, as I said, I am committed to the thing and I'm passionate about it, and I'm also bitter to some degree about the fact that this has been kept hidden from me personally, let alone the rest of the world. And I need these voices to be heard. And that is it.
Well, thank you so much, Zach. We have been so lucky to speak to you today. Honestly, with even Beyond Images, we're really, really happy, and we can't wait to see where this goes.
Yes.
And the bright future that you have.
Bright future, well done.
Bright future. Do you see?
Yes, we've got some other things in place, but some other thoughts that we're going through. But these things take a lot of planning and so on and so forth. So we're not we're not dead yet. We're still good. There's still a lot of fight in us yet.
And you're gonna leave like a legacy, because even if you guys can just bring us along, and we're gonna join the team.
No. The plan is to have. Remember, we're getting to school, so the plan is to continue this.
The next
story. It's
generation.
going to be next generation, and we're in our 3rd year, and I actually sometimes when I sit there and think what we've done in 3 years, in fact 2.5 years,
It's amazing.
it is comforting to know that we've gone so far in such a short space of time, because we've got the right people in the right place doing the right thing, and they've all got the same kind of mindset where it has to be done and done properly and done effectively. And the most important thing is the truth. You must know the truth. It's not going to be diluted, because that's not what it's about. They were on the battlefield, they got shot, they got buried, and they got forgotten. That is the truth. And so we're going to say that, and if it's uncomfortable to some people, so be it, but that is the truth. We have a fellow called Alexander the D. Great, not Alexander the Great, Alexander D. Great. He has written us a song, again, that's on our website, it's called No Parade. Now, in World War One, the Caribbean soldiers, after the war was finished, there was a huge parade and all that, and they were not allowed to be in the parade. They were sent back to their various homelands, and they were not invited to join the parade. All these things are wrong. That, when you say it out loud, you might think I am sort of banging the race drum. I'm not. I'm saying that I have been on the front line myself, right? And I know that what they're saying is wrong. Right? No parade. You're not good enough. You're good enough to die for us, but you're not good enough to celebrate with us. Then you hear other things like Caribbean soldiers who brought from the Caribbean to fight here in Europe. You had to have a level of education. However, the people that they were sat next to, the Europeans, these Caribbean soldiers were writing their letters for them to send home, because they were illiterate. But we had to be educated enough.
I didn't even know that.
That's what I'm saying. Be prepared to be shocked. But it is the truth.
Wow. So the criteria was the
You have to
expectation.
be able to have a level of education, a very high level of
to
education.
just be there with everybody else.
But if you're English, we're in England. Let's talk about English.
Yeah.
If you're English, excuse me, you didn't bother. You just signed up and went. Put your X and went. All right. These guys had to be educated, so they'd still be dissing them in the trenches. Oh, what, Samba, come and write a letter to my wife from you, or my parents to me.
Yeah. Wow.
I'm not bitter about that. I'm bitter with the fact that it's been just ignored, and that's why. And these people don't have the voice to say, oh, by the way, this happened to us. This happened to us. And that's why I'm here, and that's why I'm so passionate about it.
Yeah. I think you're just tired of selective history being taught all the time.
That's the selective history.
I mean, I would understand, because studying history, there's so much that I haven't even learned. And I feel like, the Windrush generation, all of this.
Right.
It's history that's been ignored. And
this guy who wrote this book, all he's done is all research and so on and so forth, and he gave us that book. It is amazing, and there's so much information out there, yeah. And it is what it is. So I'm gonna, be positive about it, because I am positive about it, and I'm passionate about it as well.
Thank you so much.
My pleasure.
You have been wonderful. The time we spent here has been very enlightening. And Beyond Image AI, we are so happy to have spoken with you today.
Yeah.
And we're so excited for the bright future that you have. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Thank you so much.
So you're telling me they wrote letters for the British soldiers? That's crazy.